For decades, the West held the pen and wrote down the rules. The financial dominance, the global institutions, the reserve currencies, the sanctions used like weapons. But in 2025, that script is getting torn to shreds, and it's Asia holding the pen now. The global South isn't just rising quietly, it's organizing, coordinating, and sending a clear message. We're done being told what to do. The arrogance of the West, thinking it can forever sit at the head of the table while former colonies beg for crumbs, is getting exposed. And at the center of this seismic shift is BRICS. No longer just 5 letters, it's becoming a global gravitational force, a counterweight to centuries of Western dominance. A club once seen as symbolic, even mocked by Western analysts, is now the very platform that threatens to collapse the Western financial monopoly. But what about the West? It's just watching this unfold in real time, paralyzed by its own hubris and too late to stop it. Please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. This year, BRICS is not just expanding, it's exploding. The movement is now a geopolitical avalanche. 10 new countries have already been admitted as partner nations in 2025, and the overwhelming majority of them come from one region, Asia. Vietnam joined in June, a move that stunned Western policymakers who thought they had Vietnam in their corner. Thailand, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, also now within BRICS sphere. Even Central Asia is falling in line. Bangladesh and Cambodia are right at the doorstep, and it's not a question of if, it's when they get in. These are not just random add-ons, they are frontline players in a continental shift of power. And the reason they're rushing toward BRICS is actually very simple. They all know where the future lies. Asia is no longer a rising region, it is the new center of global gravity. From fintech infrastructure to trade corridors to energy pipelines, the entire world is tilting east. BRICS is not just adding members, it's building a new ecosystem with Asia as the command center. And that shift is going to become crystal clear at the BRICS summit in Rio this July, which is shaping up to be the most consequential in the group's history. This is where policy becomes power. The bloc is done holding vague discussions. It's now building concrete mechanisms to bypass Western systems entirely. One of the top agenda items? Accelerating trade in local currencies. That's right, more and more countries will begin ditching the US dollar in bilateral and multilateral trade. And while the media is obsessed with the idea of a single BRICS currency, the real threat is more subtle. Decentralized national currency trade that slowly bleeds relevance from the dollar. Add to that the growing discussions around a BRICS digital payment network, a parallel SWIFT alternative, and you're looking at a slow-motion financial coup. The West can't stop this because these countries no longer fear US retaliation the way they used to. And why should they? Washington's threats are becoming emptier by the day. We're already seeing this shift take place in real time with the rise of currency swaps and local currency trade deals. In early 2025, China and Brazil expanded their 190 billion yuan currency swap, signaling that BRICS economies are already beginning to decouple from the dollar in actual trade. These swaps allow countries to settle trades in their own currencies without converting to USD, avoiding both risk and dependency. And it's not just China and Brazil. More countries, especially in Asia, are preparing similar deals. These bilateral mechanisms are the infrastructure of a de-dollarized world. As the US weaponizes the dollar, more and more countries are simply choosing to walk away. And Asia, as the architect of these financial alternatives, becomes not just the leader, but the liberator. The true genius of this realignment is how deeply strategic it is. While the US burns bridges with sanctions and regime change games, Asia is laying roads, ports, rails, and economic corridors. China's Belt and Road Initiative has already linked much of Central and Southeast Asia, and now BRICS is becoming the diplomatic and financial brain behind that infrastructure. What we're seeing is the emergence of a full-stack alternative global order. With its own financial tools, trade routes, and political alliances, Asia, far from being a follower, is the architect. The region is exporting not just products, but systems, development models, AI platforms, green energy blueprints. While the US talks about rules-based order, Asia is building the roads that connect continents. The global South isn't decentralizing around America, it's re-centralizing around Asia, quietly, efficiently, and with no intention of turning back. This financial backbone is only growing more sophisticated with the rise of BRICS Pay, a cross-border digital payments platform initially proposed by Russia but now being propelled forward by China, India, and Southeast Asian tech ecosystems. In 2024, this concept looked like a novelty, but now with countries facing sanctions and dollar volatility, BRICS Pay is no longer a theory, it's a necessity. Southeast Asia is especially crucial here. With platforms like India's UPI and Thailand's Prompt Pay already operating at scale, BRICS now has ready-made digital blueprints to plug into. Asia isn't just participating in this digital revolution, it's providing the code. The West gave us PayPal and Visa. Asia's building an entire new operating system for global transactions, and this one doesn't need Wall Street to function. And in that context, Indonesia's move becomes a strategic masterstroke. In January 2025, Indonesia became the 10th full member of BRICS. Not a partner, not an observer, but a full-fledged player. This wasn't a slow process. It was fast-tracked, welcomed with open arms. Why? Because BRICS sees Indonesia as a vital node in the Asian matrix. With a population of over 270 million, abundant resources, and a growing middle class, Indonesia isn't just a country, it's an anchor. Jakarta saw the writing on the wall. Western-led platforms like the G7 offered vague promises and patronizing partnerships. Meanwhile, China, India, and the rest of Asia were offering infrastructure, energy cooperation, and digital finance integration. Indonesia didn't hesitate. It made a strategic choice, align with the future, not the past. And in doing so, it just slammed the door shut on any Western fantasy of keeping Southeast Asia neutral. What's even more shocking is how many countries are now flooding the BRICS inbox with membership applications or partnership requests. Over 40 countries have expressed interest in joining, this year alone. Pakistan, Nigeria, Egypt, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Cuba, Bahrain, Zimbabwe. The list keeps growing. Some want to be full members, others want partner status. All of them are looking for one thing: freedom from the chokehold of Western financial dominance. No more IMF traps. No more currency collapse due to US interest rate decisions. What BRICS offers, especially under China's leadership, is dignity through development. You get ports, roads, hospitals, and digital trade networks. Not lectures about human rights from people who bomb half the world. And let's be real, if you're a developing nation, would you rather deal with a West in debt and decline, or a rising Asia offering real investment without condescension? Yet even now, the West acts like it still runs the world. Biden stumbles through summits while printing trillions in debt. Macron is too busy trying to survive riots in France to even pretend Europe has a vision. Meanwhile, the dollar, once the unchallenged king of global trade, is looking shaky. What happens when Saudi Arabia starts pricing oil in yuan or rupees instead of dollars? What happens when African countries use Chinese-backed digital payment networks to bypass SWIFT? That's not some future fantasy. That's BRICS 2025. This is how empires end, not with a bang, but with the quiet sound of countries walking away. And here's the plot twist no one expected. Xi Jinping is skipping the BRICS summit this July. For the first time since 2013, China's top leader won't be physically present. But this isn't a retreat, it's a flex. Xi doesn't need to show up because his influence is already coded into the system. China built the hardware, laid the financial pipes, and drafted the playbook. He's sending the message that Asia's dominance no longer relies on personal appearances. It's systemic. Meanwhile, Modi is stepping into the spotlight, invited for a state dinner in the US while also attending the BRICS summit. But India's balancing act is getting harder by the day. The West wants India as a counterweight to China. BRICS wants India as a pillar of the new world. Modi wants both. But Asia isn't waiting for India to make up its mind. The region is moving forward, with or without it. This isn't some polite gathering of alternative economies. This is a full-on realignment of global power. The global South is no longer begging for a seat at the Western table. It's building its own. BRICS is now the spearhead of that shift. And Asia, not Europe, not America, is in the driver's seat. With every new country that joins, with every trade deal signed in local currencies, with every new rail built from China to Pakistan to Laos, the old system gets weaker. BRICS isn't coming, it's here. And the West, it's being left behind, watching its empire crumble one ignored sanction, one de-dollarized oil deal at a time. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more future content.